everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 10 Express on the Trobe Live. I'm Tiff Cole, and I'm joined by...
Jared Friday. Nice to meet you, Tiff. I'll see you again.
Once again?
Yeah, once again.
Every week. It's not really a meeting, is it?
Sorry?
It's not really a meeting now, is it? It's kind of a thing that we
Oh,
do.
Tiff, every time I see you, it's a magical meeting. You should know that.
All right, well, let's jump right up into the news. First up in breaking news, a suspicious package has closed down Glen Ferry Road in Melbourne. The package was found between High Street and Wattle Tree Road outside a Mexican restaurant, and the section was closed off. The bomb response unit has moved in on the package, and as a result, tram routes 5, 6 and 72, as well as 58, are experiencing delays from this. A strong earthquake has struck central Mexico this morning, killing at least 93 people and collapsing dozens of buildings in the capital of Mexico City. The capital's airport has suspended operations after the 7.1 magnitude earthquake, and buildings across the city have been evacuated. US President Donald Trump says the United States will be forced to totally destroy North Korea unless they back down. Malcolm Turnbull acknowledges that Trump's speech from the UN meeting was received loud and clear. Hurricane Maria is following the path of destruction that Irma left in the Caribbean. Dominica was the first to be hit, killing one person by a falling tree and at least 2 others missing in a shipwreck. The Category 5 storm is now tearing towards the US Virgin Islands as well as Puerto Rico. And a 20% sugar tax has been called for as a strategy to cure Australia's obesity problem. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull is in disagreement with the proposition, stating that Australians pay enough tax when it comes to the supermarket. Health organisations are also looking to cease advertisement of unhealthy foods on free TV between the hours of 6 p.m. and midnight.
All right, my turn, eh? Channel 10 will now be operating under US media giant CBS. Australian hopefuls Murdoch and Gordon had taken the matter to court, claiming that their bid to the network was not reviewed fairly, as it had been submitted a day past deadline. Although they were ruled against, they will still have the potential to appeal against the court's decision. An expectancy of strong winds around Victoria has led to a severe weather warning. Allegedly, sufferers are encouraged to stay indoors. Tomorrow, as there will be a high amount of pollen in the air and a likelihood of a thunderstorm. Asthma. In AFL news, public tickets have already sold out for both preliminary finals, with tickets already being legally resold for the Richmond GWS game on Saturday. For as much as $400, the AFL Fans Association has slammed this, saying this must be stopped as only AFL Grand Final is subject to anti-scalping laws. This comes the week before the Grand Final, where tickets are out of reach for average households, as 30 to 40,000 tickets get allocated to club members from $150 to $410. The rest go off to corporate sponsors and MCC and AFL members. While star Western Bulldogs forward Jake Stringer has announced he will be on the trade market, Stringer expressed sadness at being offered around by the Bulldogs, but says he will be assessing his options as Essendon and Geelong have already publicly expressed interest in him. The Dallas Cowboys have once again been listed as the world's most valuable sporting franchise. The football team are worth a huge whopping $6 billion Australian dollars, up 14% from last year. And finally, in the weather, it's a lovely day to avoid fires and tell people that you've already voted with, a beautiful sunny day out here at La Trobe University.
Yeah, the student elections are definitely in full swing this morning.
Look, student elections, if you could see where I am and this view, there is many people trying to get people to vote. Not to mention, we just witnessed a William Wallace pep rally in the middle of the Agora.
A big group huddle.
Definitely, if you're in the Agora, go and see what's going on, grab a voting slip. Make sure you throw that in because it does matter. Yeah, That's my spiel.
Are you passionate? Are you campaigning for either one of the teams yet, or?
I would like to campaign for making Stollies great again.
I know there were a few niche parties last year that weren't. We have like Boost and Unite, who are the biggest ones, but there were. Oh, what was it? There was almost like a joke party on the ballot. It did have something.
No, it's okay, guys. Just like get around it. I'm gonna make it a campaign option. Make Stollies great again. All right, get around it. Have a look at it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Why does Stollies need to be made great again? What's wrong with it in the first place?
Well, like it's just getting a little bit quiet. And like back in the day, I really enjoyed the loud, 100 people Stollies where they had to install another entrance for the amount of people that came.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd like to see it restored to its former glory.
So maybe
just a
one
bit
of
like
your
America.
one of your campaign policies would be to stop exams at uni,
Yeah,
so that everyone can go out and party instead.
All right, guys, we're moving to another segment that we like to call On This Day, and on this day we had the 1973 Billie Jean King beats Bobby Riggs in the Battle of the Sexes tennis match. What's your opinion on this, Tiff?
It's not the Billie Jean that you're thinking of.
Yeah, I know.
Throwback to our King of Pop. But I think it was... I was watching the clip before the show, and it really was... they're both two big personalities in tennis.
Huge personalities.
I guess Riggs was known as he was a little bit more egotistical. He thought he had it in the bag.
Yeah, trying to relive the glory days, eh?
Yeah, and we see him sporting this T-shirt where he claims to be chauvinistic pig. And I have a quote from him which is just brilliant. He was saying, "If I can't play for big money, I play for a little money, and if I can't play for a little money, I stay in bed that day because it's just not worth his time." Just a great life motto to live for.
Yeah, exactly. Either way, he's going to make money or he's going to get to sleep in.
Absolutely.
But with Billie Jean, she was a huge personality when it came to like trying to get like equal pay for women, and trying to. She was big in like the early feminist movement, and like her being a tennis player of like high accord really helped her case with a lot of that.
Well, I think it was really unfortunate that she was set back by not being paid as much as her teammates, but she really did. She pioneered the movement, and I think even her parents pushed her into tennis because they thought that other sports were unladylike.
Oh, yeah?
Which is sad.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like,
she did the best that she could with it.
She pretty much killed the tennis. So.
Yeah, because she did end up winning the match, but Billie first ignored Riggs' challenge, where Riggs challenged Margaret Court, who, hey ho, we have Margaret Court Arena now.
Yeah, exactly.
But he slammed Margaret Court. It was all over the press. He was very happy about that. Okay.
Yeah, well, no, like, I haven't done a great deal of research into this, so you're one up above me. I just remember going and looking at like Billie Jean King because I thought it was the Billie Jean that I was talking about. Turns out it wasn't, but then I found out that she was like a really good tennis player, and she'd won like a number of titles and stuff like that, and she was very she was very adamant on what
she was very likable as well, I think.
Yeah, but she had like a really good form of like self-justice and
and
self-appreciation.
sportsmanship and
I really enjoyed like going back and like looking at like what she did and everything like that, and it was really cool to see that like her husband actually like was pushing her to try and get those equal rights and trying to get that equal pay.
Yeah, which
like,
is nice from like a male perspective.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't hear about that like all the time. And so like when you hear that like he was supporting her and everything that she did, it makes you believe that there is a solid two-way street that things can come down. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't just paint men as all Bobby Riggs.
I mean, Bobby Riggs is probably like the thing that we try to stray away from.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, and then every once and again, in life, you meet people like that. There's a real special word for it, but I can't say that on air. Sorry, guys.
Well, I am looking forward to, there's a remake of the movie coming out not a remake of the movie.
Yeah,
there
no,
will
but
be
there's
an
a movie
adaptation
coming
of
out.
the game.
And Steve Carell is playing Bobby Riggs, I believe.
and I
So-
was looking at the trailer, and I think he has a really good comedic take on it. He has the personality,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to portray it really well.
Yeah, no, but like, as soon as I saw like the casting and I saw Steve Carell as Bobby Riggs, I was like, this movie isn't going to be 100% serious, but it's going to
Amazing.
make it look entertaining, and it's going to make it like it's going to get the knowledge out there. And that's what you need. Like, although it's not going to be like the exact reenactment of like what happened here in the Battle of the Sexes or whatever. At least it'll be good. You'll get the info and you'll enjoy yourself.
Yeah, the event will definitely be marked
Yeah, exactly.
as a period in history
because
that
it's
mattered.
not something that like you hear about all the time. Like, I didn't know like what the whole Battle of the Sexes thing was until like recently when I had to go and research it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's it'll
But
be
it was
good
a pivotal moment in history where we realised, hey, I think it was even when the prize money was set to be $100,000 for either a female or a male winner. It was like, hey, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
Now the
Because,
playing levels
equal
are
opportunity.
even. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe we have a clip of the Battle of the Sexes movie. If you want to check that out.
It's Bobby Riggs. I had a great idea. Male chauvinist pig versus hairy-legged feminist. You're still a feminist, right?
I'm a tennis player who happens to be a woman.
Don't hang up.
And by the way, I shave my legs.
Billie Jean King, already a champion of women's rights, is now the most successful female player of all time.
I am not saying that women don't belong on the court. Who would pick up the balls otherwise?
Oh my God.
There isn't a single thing I don't hate about Bobby Riggs.
You know what I'm doing? I'm cooking. I'm cooking. I won the triple in Wimbledon. I could beat Billie Jean King. Does she have the nerve?
Call Bobby. Tell him it's on.
And welcome back to the 10 Express. The time is now 10:12. We broadcast every Wednesday from 10 a.m. live in the media hub here at Trobe, located in the Agora. You can catch up with us on upstart.net.au or follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the 10 Express. And if you want to send news, you can send it to the 10express@hotmail.com.au. We are now joined by the lovely Eden. How are you?
Good, thanks, guys. How are you?
Welcome.
Fantastic as always. And for our next story, we look at students who gaining some practical experience during their studies. Eden has been doing an internship.
Yes.
Internship. In her degree of journalism, media, and communications and that sort of thing. So tell us about your internship.
I started, in mid-July? So I've been doing it for a couple of months at Broadsheet. Do you guys know that?
I
Magazine?
don't. Can you explain?
I'm not familiar with it either,
It's
to
just
be honest.
it's an online publication, and they just write about what's on in Melbourne and, like food, culture, music, arts, and that. So people follow it on Facebook mainly.
That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And
So it's like a Facebook audience.
pardon?
So it's like a Facebook audience.
Yeah,
Majority.
mainly. Or they used to have they're going back to print magazines as well, but
Okay.
mainly online. So I think they've got, is it 200,000 or 500,000 followers on
Oh my
Facebook? So
gosh.
yeah, they just do articles on, artists that are coming in or up-and-coming chefs and things like that. So
Cool.
it's pretty fun. I get
So
to do that kind of
whereabouts
work.
are you based when you wite for Broadsheet?
In Fitzroy,
In Fitzroy?
yeah, on Smith Street. So it's a bit of
Oh,
a
so they have a
hike.
proper office and everything.
Yeah. So the CEO, Nick, he's an entrepreneur and he just started it up, and then he ended up hiring out this big warehouse, and there's no walls or anything, and they've just got people working. I think we've got a photo of what the office looks like. And so you've just got about 50 or 60 people working in there together, and they're pet friendly, so there's
Oh, my
little
Sounds
dogs
awesome.
walking around. Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of work are you doing, like, at Broadsheet?
Well, I thought as an intern I'd just be doing emails and photocopying.
coffee runs.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But no, my editor, he's great. He's let me do my own series of articles. So I've done a couple on pubs in Melbourne and cafes to try out for breakfast and things like that. So
That's
it's
cool.
good.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Do they
and
kind of like set you up with the topic to write about, or are you free to go and do that?
a bit of both. So sometimes he lets me choose my own thing, and I can choose someone to interview. Other times he says, like, write about, places to work solo in the city, or like Christmas after party places, or like a wide range of different things. But
Oh, yeah.
it's good. Have you guys had an internship during your studies?
I've not, no.
No.
But I'm looking into it. What about, have you got any tips for applying or how you landed your internship?
I was pretty lucky. It was the first one I applied for, and I looked at the name, and I go, I think my brother's friend works there. So I sent him an email, and he helped me out a little bit. But other than that, I don't know. I guess one issue is about the work-study balance.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky this semester I've only got 2 subjects left and then I've finished. But I think last semester I was doing 5 subjects here. It would have been really overwhelming if I was doing that. But
you know, the media and comms thing, the media and comms is very big on networking.
Yeah.
And for the people who don't know out in the audience, media and comms is like the biggest one. Get to know the people that you know and stick with them because they will be your contacts later in life.
yeah.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
And I think as well, getting an internship, if you can publish work online, it's really good for me when I start applying for jobs as well. So that was a really, like, one thing I was really grateful for, that they can let me do that. So
Awesome.
Have you got like a big portfolio now from all of your uni pieces and then from the internship?
Yeah, a year ago I didn't, but then I did Upstart last semester, which was good because you can publish work online, and then at Broadsheet now, which is great. So it's good.
That's
Yeah, I've got a
cool.
bit.
That's awesome as.
Yeah, so I feel a bit more confident applying for jobs. I didn't about a year ago.
Yeah. So how do you think this is preparing you for like uni and stuff outside? Like, so once you finish uni, how do you think this will, like, do you reckon you'll continue with Broadsheet, or do you reckon this will give you more experience towards a better job, or?
That's the interesting thing. I think we're talking about that before outside. With online magazines like Broadsheet, it's kind of hard to get full-time into like editors inside. A lot of work now I think is freelanced out.
Yep.
So if you look at like the Urban List and other magazines like that, people get paid to do like per article. So I think after I finish here, hopefully I get an opportunity to do that while I have a full-time job as well. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it seems to the way that kind of online magazine area is going. That they don't have a lot of...
It's a lot of freelance, not a lot of full-time. Okay, that's cool. What have you learned? Like, what have you learned working for Broadsheet that you wouldn't learn at university or, like elsewhere?
A lot of things. I think at uni we don't learn a lot about how a business works or how they make money, or we learn how to write, and that's like pretty much it, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you learn more about, like, I've got to talk to people in marketing and sales and how they make money through the business and things like that. So yeah, the last couple of months I've learned so much. So it's been a good experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Do you have
that's been awesome.
like promote your own work? Do you write kind of like a little, like an intro for all of your social medias as well? Or how do you promote your work?
I don't promote my... Oh, do you mean, so to say with Broadsheet, do I promote it elsewhere?
Well, kind of like your own story. Will you have to write like a little header for maybe like Facebook or do your own images? And
so when I do an article on there, they pay for a photographer to go and take shots of the place, and then that gets put on the website, and then they share it on their Facebook page, and it says like Eden Hennanen spoke to this person. So that was...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so it's a cool way to... I thought it would always have their name on it, but apparently with some work you get to put your name on it, so it's great that I can...
Yeah, so you get
that.
accredited.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's really nice.
What kind of internships would you guys like
Oh,
to apply
gosh.
for?
I'd love to do... I did some volunteering at Channel 31, which wasn't an internship. I didn't get credit for it, but I loved my time there.
What
That
did
was
you
cool.
learn?
Oh, I did a lot of, it was a bit similar to Upstart actually. It was a lot of like live streaming and
cool.
it was super cool. Just learning how to kind of like produce a show. So I feel like I've got a feel for like TV stuff now. I kind of enjoy that.
Do you want to be more at the front or the back?
Oh, I don't know. Because this is my first semester actually presenting on a show. But prior to that, I love doing tech stuff.
Yeah.
So now I want the best of both worlds and I just can't decide.
Yeah, see, I'm the same. I did tech last year
Yeah.
for the same sort of shows we're doing now. Hi, people. And it was really good fun, but I always knew that like I've got to, I don't know what the right word is. I really enjoy presenting.
Yeah, I can tell.
I really enjoy it. It's really good fun. Okay? Yeah. But presenting is really good fun. And, you know, I'm a very energetic kind of person. And, like, before this, I was doing, like, a tech role or, like, I was doing vision switching or something like that. For you guys who don't know that, that's our fantastic cameraman who keeps on changing the angles on me and I don't know where I am. So, and once again. So, yeah,
Shaky.
that's, you know, that's our... but I really enjoyed that. So I would definitely look in something a bit more technical if I was going to do an internship, or I'd look at something where I can do this, where I can convey with you beautiful people.
Because I feel like for an internship, like, I feel like you would learn more technically than
you definitely learn more
presenter-wise?
technically
Because I
than
think
presenter-wise.
presenter-wise, it's a bit more like charisma, like
It's, yeah, it's
getting your confidence up and learning your stuff and delivering it.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I haven't had a lot of experience presenting. I like writing.
And being the man behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving on to another segment. Thank you very much, Eden,
Always
for your
joining
wonderful
us.
insights.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to Where Are They Now? And our topic that we're covering is Yowies and Kinder Surprises. And now, look, to be honest, like, they were mad. Like, back in the day, Yowies and Kinder Surprises were mad. We have a package ready for you now.
Thanks, guys.
You can find it in the desert. You can smell it on the breeze. It shines upon the wetlands. It hides among the trees. You'll find it in the forest. It sparkles in the stream.
It's that special Yowie magic, the heart of every dream. From the other side of sunset comes new Cadbury Yowie Power. Inside every delicious Cadbury Dairy Milk Chocolate Yowie, there's a Yowie Power Playmate and your lucky token. Share the magic of Yowie Power. New from...
Welcome back. And now that you guys are clued back in on the Australian Yowie.
Oh, the Australian Yowie. What
What a great
thing.
chocolate.
You have no idea how many memories this brings back. Like, I remember going to the supermarket as a kid, and Mum would be doing the shopping, and it'd be like, you know, you can get one thing.
And what did you get?
Did your parents, like, ever do that? Like,
you'd chuck a
one
tantrum,
thing.
and then they'd be like...
Oh, no, not even a tantrum. It's just like, thanks for coming and doing the shopping with me. You can grab, like, you know, like a treat. You can grab.
I
like,
don't
a
think
snack.
mine was really offered. I'd just kind of like sneakily throw things into the shopping cart, and my mum wouldn't really mind.
You know, like when you put that dog in the shopping cart, you just really hope that they let you keep a puppy. Yeah, no, like the one thing that I got was like a Kinder Surprise, or it was like Yowie or something. You know, something that was like, it was gimmicky, it was marketed for kids, but like you got a cool little toy, and you got some chocolate. You got the best of both worlds. You were like Hannah Montana. Best of both worlds.
Did you ever feel really disappointed at the prize inside of the chocolate?
Look, sometimes. But that was generally with Kinder Surprise. The chocolate was really good, and then they give you like some disappointing toy.
To be honest, I like the Yowie toys better than the Kinder Surprise.
110%.
And did you know that the characters were created by a couple of authors? We've got Bryce Courtenay. I've read some of his books, to be honest.
I did not.
He's cool. I like his
but
work.
Yowies have come back into circulation yet.
Oh, well, they, earlier this year, I believe it was April, don't shoot me down if I'm wrong, but there was a company, Yowie actually went out of business because Cadbury disagreed with the creators of Yowie.
Really?
And then they separated.
Oh,
so now
sad.
I think it's Yowie Group or Yowie Corporate or something like that. The guys from Perth, they licensed the product, and now it's being created in Florida in America. So it's not Australian anymore.
But it doesn't matter. It's back. It's back. Yowie's back.
Yeah.
They originated in Australia. They're always going to stay Australian. Like that's
because of the bunyip, you know.
Yeah, because
that's really an underrated.
Have you been to Bunningall?
Have I been to where?
Bunningall. It's like
No.
supposedly where the bunyips.
Benningal.
Huh?
Bunningal or Benningal?
No, Bunningall.
Sounds a bit like
So like where I'm from, Ballarat's like an hour and a half away, and like half an hour on from Ballarat is where Bunningall is located.
Okay.
There's two places. There's Bunningall and there's a town in New South Wales that I believe is called Bunyip. And that's like where the whole like mystery came from. And then like they created Yowies and like the image of like a bunyip from like
that's
Bunninghill.
cool.
So like that's why it's very Australian, because you know like it's all done from like
Because it
Australian
was organic, it was
mythology and stuff.
Oh,
like
that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so-
when you think about the drop bears as well.
Yeah, but like that's the design of Yowie, and that's why they look like that, because you know they have a very cartoonish like.
Well, we've got one
Look of a
excited
bunyip.
little girl here who's opening her first Yowie. Bless. I wonder, see, that looks like the new generation, doesn't it?
It's definitely the new generation,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
wonder if she enjoys it as much. Like
You'd
that's
have
the
to.
question.
You would
Because,
have
like,
to.
Have they been changed or?
I think, I mean, they must have if they're being
Yeah.
produced by a different company. But
Who knows?
even because there's a thing about Kinder Surprise was banned in America because chocolate with concealed toys or concealed non-edibles is illegal for obvious reasons.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, in terms of like smuggling or that type of thing. So now I think the Yowie's been invented, and the capsule goes all the way around the edge instead of being concealed in the chocolate because it is.
Australia and India.
Yeah, for bringing a Kinder Surprise overseas, like you would not have thought that, would you?
Jesus. Look, just to be safe, I'm not bringing any kind of chocolate. Like, if I'm going to the US, like, I'm just going to keep everything in Australia, and then I'll go to the US and I'll keep everything
They don't
US
deserve
in
it
the
anyway.
US, you
I
know?
mean, they do have like Kinder Bueno over there, but not
yeah,
not
but
a surprise.
better.
Yeah, it's true.
They're better. They're
It's true.
100% better.
Well, if you're worried about, you may not see the Yowies on Woolies and Coles shelves, but they are definitely at Big W, Kmart, and your local IGA.
Yeah.
In case you wanted to catch up on some nostalgia.
Oh, everyone loves a good part of nostalgia. Everyone loves
Absolutely.
some good nostalgia.
I was going to buy one for the show today, but I didn't get time. So maybe after the break
disappointing.
I'll come back and I'll
No.
unwrap my Yowie on air.
All right. We're throwing into the news recap, yeah?
Yeah,
Take it away,
so,
Tiff.
all right, well, another toy-related news story.
Oh, yeah.
Toys R Us have filed for bankruptcy in the US, but luckily for us, Toys R Us Australia is separately owned and operated, so it will not be affecting our stores. And Springvale bank arsonist Nur Islam is going to be appearing in the county court today for a decisions hearing. Graphic CCTV footage of the incident was released yesterday and shows Islam pouring a 20-litre petrol container around the Springvale Commonwealth Bank. He then grabs the lighter out of his pocket, lights it up and sets himself on fire, which was freaking horrific to watch, to be honest.
Not the best thing you want to
And
hear.
then
right? Let's go on.
Magistrate Peter Reardon says that there's enough evidence to commit Islam for his 108 charges, ranging from criminal damage to endangering life of the 33 people injured last year. And as of today, there's going to be a new $10 note, and this comes as a change to make Australian cash a little harder to make counterfeit duplicates of.
Is it going to be the same as like the new $5 note? Or-
See, I've not seen it, but I'm assuming that is what they're going to do with the little window
Yeah,
and
yeah,
kind of like
okay.
the shiny look on it.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool as. We're thrown back into sport once again. In AFL, Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinkley has re-signed with the Power.
Ooh.
Yeah. Until the end of 2021. This comes after the Gold Coast Suns tried to lure him away from Port Adelaide.
Ooh.
Oh no! Sorry, I just had I had nostalgia again. Like when it said power, I was like, keep
Melbourne
it.
Power.
I have the power. Yeah, no, it was totally.
What footy team are you for, just out of curiosity?
I don't know. No,
don't follow the sport?
No, like I'll sit down and watch a game if I have to, or like not if I have to, but if it's on. Yeah, I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh yeah, like such and
If
such
you're
is
being
winning.
bribed
That's cool
with
as.
some like chippies, then you'll sit down and watch
Yeah,
them
exactly.
and a beer.
Or if I'm like in the pub and I've got a beer in my hand,
Yeah.
like you sit down and you watch like whatever sport's on. But as far as like going out of my way to watch it,
Not really, no.
As viewers may have guessed, because I'm not 100% on any of the names and I don't know any of the teams, but I like reading the sport. Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Once again, this is the 10 Express. The time is now 10:30. We broadcast live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. In the Agora Media Hub. So yeah, come check us out. Follow us on Facebook at the 10 Express. We're pretty cool. So yeah, just get around us.
Apart from next week, because we're going into the uni break, which I cannot wait for.
So every Wednesday.
Apart from next Wednesday. Which we'll miss you guys.
Yeah, this seems like real bad propaganda, doesn't it?
We'll miss you guys, but we'll also be holidaying.
Yeah, we'll miss you guys, but we've just got more solid things to do next week. I know that sounds really bad, but you love us. Please don't
come
leave.
back. Oh, bless. And now on to our second story of the day. The Advertising Standards Bureau has dismissed complaints about a controversial meat advertisement from Meat and Livestock Australia that depicts a number of religious gods, including the Hindu god and symbol of vegetarianism. Oh my gosh, that is a new word that I've learnt today. Which is Ganesha, who was raising his or her glass for a toast to eating lamb, which was horrific, to say the least.
To be fair, I really enjoyed the ad. I thought it was good taste. It had a lot of humour, and, even though it may have offended a couple of people, they were just trying to make something that, that sells. And it was a little bit fun.
Yeah.
But our reporter, Naeem Kurt, has more, so check it out.
Australia and India, two countries with strong political, linguistic, economic, cultural and sporting ties.
We'll have another look. So Dave Warner.
But it isn't just on the cricket field where things get heated.
Come on!
A recent advertisement from Meat and Livestock Australia has heightened tensions between India and Australia for its depiction of an Indian god. Meat and Livestock Australia isn't immune to controversy, with recent ads causing offence for some Indigenous members and vegans.
You'll be eating lamb on the beach.
But I'm a vegan now.
Abort! Get him out of there!
Vegans.
Its current ad shows various religious icons from Moses, Buddha, Scientologist founder Ron Hubbard,
I gave up dinner with Tom Cruise for this.
And the humble Jedi. But it's the portrayal of the traditionally vegetarian Hindu god Ganesh as a meat eater which has caused the most offence.
So, should we address the elephant in the room?
Not funny 2,500 years ago. Not funny now.
The Indian High Commission has lodged a formal complaint to the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade declaring the ad offensive. Federal politicians have also raised the issue in Parliament.
This ad has been carelessly and callously insulting to the religious beliefs of some 440,000 people in Australia.
Other commentators like Carl Stefanovic have said that it was great.
All right, so that's causing a massive stir out there, but I love it.
For Indian students like Krushant, it has caused offence.
I felt a little odd, like even elephants in Australia wouldn't eat lamb. So why take a god who wouldn't even chew something and provocate someone?
Australia's had an often fraught relationship with its Indian community, which most recently culminated in protests in 2009 after a number of bashings of Indian students. Krushant has said Melbourne is getting a lot better.
I think Australians respect every religion because Melbourne itself, it's such a big city and a multicultural city. They accept it, I'm sure about that.
So what do we make of all this? Is this a case of people taking advertisement too seriously? Or have advertisers crossed the line in using religion to sell products?
Hey guys, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that short little clip prepared by Kurt. Kurt, you're in the studio now with us, yeah?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No, that's okay. So, your opinion on the ad and everything to go with it? Where does it sit?
Well, I think as we said in our intro there, Meat and Livestock Australia have been cleared to show the ad now after complaints were received both from the Hindu Council, the Indian government and politicians as well. So I think if you read the statement there from the ASB, it said that following considerable discussion, the majority of the board considered that the overall tone of the advertisement is light-hearted, humorous, and in their view, the intent is to be inclusive in a manner which promotes a harmonious and multi-faith environment. So the advertisement has been cleared by the Advertising Standards Bureau, but I think as we know, as we grow up and as we're taught by our parents, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics at the dinner table, you don't talk about that on a first date, and it's certainly not something that I think in advertisements, that advertisements should be using religion to promote a product. So it's always a very, very difficult area. And I think they did their research. They didn't show the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He wasn't showed in the advertisement. He's not, in Islam, he's not allowed to be showed. So they did that research, but they didn't do the research in knowing that Ganesh, the Lord Ganesh, the Hindu god, is a symbol of veganism in Hindu culture, and that it was inappropriate to show him eating lamb and celebrating lamb at an advertisement. So we've got to be careful there, I think. But so far, cleared to be shown. But what do you two think?
I feel like...
You heard it here first. Don't talk about religion on a first date, guys. That's what I go from.
There is a lot of political correctness where you have to be mindful of everyone's beliefs and... Religion in marketing and advertising, I feel like it's a no-brainer just to stray away from it.
Yeah, no, but I understand where the advertising company is coming from, where they say that they were just trying to be lighthearted. It's nothing they're not trying to offend people, but because they haven't done what you said, the research and so forth with Lord Ganesh and stuff like that, they've offended people. So my response to that would be to take the ad down or remove it. But, if they want to keep it in circulation, that's completely up to the people who made it.
And it's something that Meat and Livestock Australia have, fed off, and excuse the pun, but they really do feed off the controversy. And we know
exactly.
With their previous advertisements, the advertisements about We Love Our Lamb with Sam Kekovich, which have been running, I think, since 2004. You might remember the advertisements on Australia Day with Sam Kekovich sitting in front of an Australian flag saying, eat lamb, if you don't eat lamb, it's un-Australian, and Australia's been taken over by tofu sausages. So it's something that they regularly do, and as we had in the package as well, they were they've made controversy as well before by inferring, attacking vegans, attacking vegetarians. They've used Indigenous culture as well in advertisements. So controversy is something that Meat and Livestock Australia does do in their advertisements, but this might have been a line that they've crossed too far because they've offended the Indian government.
Yeah.
They've offended 440,000 Hindus in Australia, and it's the fastest growing, I think, religion in Australia. We had 260,000 Hindus in our 2011 census, now in our 2016 census, and we've increased that to 444,000. So it's a growing community in Australia, and I think it's a sign of the times that India is looking at becoming the third biggest economy in the world. We're talking about moving into the Asian century, about Australia having stronger economic ties with India, and I think it's really important that we understand Indian culture a bit better. We understand Hindu culture as well, and try not to offend those people as well, because they're going to be a big partner of ours going forward into the next century, and worth a lot of dollars too, I think.
But I mean,
it's just not on.
If they've used this tactic before, that obviously controversy works for them in some sort of way. They're getting a lot of a lot of critics. They're getting a lot of complaints or something like that.
Yeah, more media attention from that.
But to be fair, we wouldn't be looking at it if it didn't get that kind of attention. Yeah. So in some ways, it's been a very successful campaign that they've run. But I just don't believe on moral grounds that it's the right way to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's the old truism, isn't it? That all news is good news. So that might be the
that might be the stepping stone.
Meat and Livestock Australia are taking on this
What
issue.
about the Hindu groups in Australia calling for nationwide protests this Sunday?
Yeah, so that was last Sunday. In fact, they were calling for protests. So we'll see if that eventuates in next weekend or in the coming weeks. But certainly, I think Hindu groups are not happy that the Advertising Bureau. Standards Bureau of Australia has permitted the advertisement to go ahead, and we might be seeing more action, more news on this front.
Yeah. Thanks very much for joining us, Kurt.
My pleasure.
Much appreciated with your opinions and so forth there. We are now moving to another segment called Millennial Media.
And we're going to be discussing Generation Rent.
Generation Rent. Oh, see, I don't know a great deal about this. So,
well, we're going to be having Georgie in, who was absolutely
the expert.
Yeah, so Gen Y and younger are borrowing money from their parents to secure a home loan, but this is putting them in worse financial grounds in the long term.
100%. So we now have Georgie in the studio. She is joining us. George, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Yeah,
Just
pretty
fixing up
good.
my
Thank
headset.
you.
How's the show? Well, I mean, I could ask how's the show been going, but I've been watching
But you've been watching
on
it
the big screen, so
You're
I
our
know
number
exactly
one
how's it
fan.
going,
Fantastic
and you're
as
doing an
always.
amazing job.
Oh,
well
thank
done.
you. Thank you very much.
Oh,
shucks.
Flattery will get you anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Flattery will get you brownie points. So, tell us about Generation Rent. What's the go?
Generation Rent. So, as you guys remember, we had that big story in our first week of the show, and the poor, avocado got stuck in the middle of the housing crisis for our generation.
Tragic. Tragic.
This kind of, 5 shows later follows on from that. So, it's the idea that, as we've discussed previously, we don't have the financial steads to enter into to the housing market, people our age. So naturally, we're asking money from our parents or for our parents or for them to go as guarantor on the down payment or on the mortgage in a house. This, as you guys said before, actually puts buyers in worse financial stead because yes, they've secured the 10% deposit for the home, maybe without really factoring in bills, taxes, all that jazz. So it's a good short-term fix, but then it doesn't set these buyers up well long-term in terms of maintaining the homes that their parents have helped them buy. Actually, interesting story. My auntie and uncle sold their house on the weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. They were very pleased. They're moving up to the country for a bit of change of scenery.
Whereabouts are they moving to?
They've been renting in Beechworth for 12 months. So, and then my family lives in Benalla, so they're moving to Benalla.
Oh, okay.
Good times. But so they sold their house, and in my opinion, a very young couple bought it. And it's a family home. It's bigger. It's in the northern suburbs, so naturally a bit more expensive. And I was really shocked. I was like, how?
Yeah,
we've done so much research. This goes against the entire the demographic that who are buying homes.
How?
And then
How did they do this?
And then their parents walk in, and I was like, this actually fits in very well to what I'll be talking about in the show. And I asked my aunt and uncle, and they were going guarantor on the loan, and were helping with the deposit as well. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you have parents that can do that, good on
as
you.
long as, I guess it would just be a matter of getting some financial advice from an accountant or something. It's kind of so here is my strategy. I want to enter the housing market. You get the first home buyers grant, however you want to pronounce it, plus assistance from your parents. This is my plan. I want to stick to it. Long term, what do I need to do to ensure that I can actually maintain this? Yeah, I mean, then there are also other people who are deciding to enter the housing market in the outer suburbs and still rent in the city because people of our generation want to maintain this lifestyle that they've gotten used to, being, central to the CBD, cafes, smashed avocado. You need to. The very reason you're renting in the city is because you're spending too much money on the smashed avocado, so you want to stay close to it. And I think that's an interesting strategy as well.
So the house in the northern suburbs is essentially paying for the rent of the home buyer that's renting in the city?
If you go, I've had some friends who are planning on doing it. She's in her grad year for nursing, so she wants to buy in Bendigo.
Yeah.
And she wants to then buy that, lease it out to to whoever rents it, stay in the city. So exactly in my auntie and uncle's case, they were living in Beechworth paying rent, but then they had people staying in their home in Melbourne paying rent.
Cool.
Right? So every month but they were still paying mortgage on that house. So they were paying rent in Beechworth, paying mortgage in Melbourne.
So it just wasn't like worth it for them.
No, exactly. So yeah, it's
surely the lease or whatever they had on the house in Melbourne covered like.
It was a good look. Yeah. It was a good rent for them, but it's just, I mean, they're both semi-retired, so it's different.
Very hard to
different expenses. Yeah. So
Okay.
That was interesting.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. So thank you very much for joining us, Georgie. Much appreciated. We are now moving on to Do You Even Sport, where we have the handsomest of the handsomest, the best of the best, and the bravest of the brave. Check it out.
Hello and welcome to Do You Even Sport. My name is Jacob Joyberry and today I'm joined up on this rhino by Jared Friday. Jared, how you doing?
I'm good, Jacob. How are you?
I am so excellent. I'm so pumped today because we get to do some amazing death-defying stunts. We've got fire, we've got dragons, we've got little children in scary masks giving out candy to people, and
we don't have the budget for that stuff.
What do you?
It's the Trobe Live, man.
What do you? Oh my God.
We've been playing this years ahead.
Years. Well, I'm very sorry, but I mean, what else are we going to do? That's something a bit more low key.
Fine.
As your assistant producer, I demand that it be on budget.
We're going to limbo under this umbrella now. Are you happy? We're limboing under the umbrella.
Limbo under the umbrella.
Nice. Hello and welcome back to Do You Even Sport. I'm still Jacob and this is still Jared and that is Georgie. And we decided that because limbo sucks, we're going to be doing the Olympics. And that was Do You Even Sports Mini Olympics. As you can see, Jared here is crying because I crushed him, as decided by Georgie, our assistant producer. Jared, what do you have to say about that? Jared, always the sportsman-like character. Well, we will see you again next week when Jared's in a better mood.
No. Hold on a second. How did this guy win? I curled someone who was kilos.
We're not allowed to disclose Georgie's weight on air. That's what all the beeping was about. We'll see you next time.
Wow, there is still ringing in my ears from all of that beeping. I'm not sure what was going on there. We now welcome Jacob Jobo in the studio with us.
Hello,
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, gorgeous, how are you?
I'm doing well, Six Legs. How are you?
Oh, beautiful as always.
You okay over there?
That one really struck a chord with you.
I don't understand how I lost. I really don't, and I know that there was a special thanks to my pride in there. I still don't understand how I lost. I understand that there was a lot of beeping, but that was not bad sportsmanship. We were just not allowed to publicly use those figures.
Well, I think the main part was that I did do the monkey bars faster, and my superior technique on the push-ups is what got it.
But you were worming the ground. I don't understand.
I got
there
low
was no
enough.
technique. There was none.
I got low
No
enough to be
technique.
counted as a push-up, so it's fine. Oh, man.
Oh.
That's right. At least you're
Oh
not
my
keep crying like you always do if you lose. You're a bit better today.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know which version I like better.
It's like...
I really enjoyed this edition of Do You Even Sport, and we knew that it was a bit mixed match.
It's a little bit off the cuff.
But, you know, we've been doing this for how long now?
It's like 6.5 weeks, I guess.
And you just run out of ideas.
You really
Eventually,
do.
you run out of ideas, and that was the week.
So much
Okay,
fun.
we were just throwing stuff together, hoping, getting you guys to have a good laugh. I don't know, like, what you got, but I got a good laugh.
Really? I hadn't quite noticed that.
Oh my gosh. Well, what about next week on Do You Even Sport?
It's even more unknown than the last 3 weeks have been.
Ooh.
No,
weeks.
we've definitely got a solid.
We've got something
solid
special
idea?
planned.
We've got something
That's
special.
right, you had the idea this week.
We've got something special for you guys.
We do.
You're gonna really enjoy it.
It's practical.
We can't tell you what it is,
Can't disclose that information.
but it's gonna be really fun.
Otherwise, we'd get bleeped again. Stop.
Yeah, we can't disclose this information on air, so there's gonna be more beeping. No, just kidding. All right, we're moving on to our next segment, which is the Great Debate. This one is quite a big topic, actually. It's Marvel versus DC, which I know a lot of people have the debate about anyway. So, Jacob, what are you?
I'm
what
a
are you
Marvel
and why?
guy. I love Marvel.
You're a Marvel guy?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, see, like, I'm very mixed on this. But, like, I suppose I can argue for DC if you're a Marvel man. So, like, what are your 5 points? Like, why Marvel?
Well, 5 points. It's just more variety of movies. With DC, it's just Batman, 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 Batman. The last, like, 10 movies I can think of are just Batman-related, or Suicide Squad, which has the Joker from Batman.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get away from Batman in the entire of the DC universe, can you? Like, even in Superman, he's got Batman right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Iron him off.
Yeah.
Then Batman vs. Superman, it's all that stuff. Whereas Marvel, it's more lighthearted. I think it's more lighthearted anyway. People say there's not any stakes when you watch a Marvel movie, but when you watch DC, you can't even watch Superman without Superman having to become a literal murderer. He's like the greatest being ever to grace this planet.
Yeah.
And he just has to kill people because there's no other way around it, apparently.
Yeah, okay.
Like you got awesome soundtracks on Marvel movies. Guardians of the Galaxy is a prime example. That amazing soundtrack, 1 and 2.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
4, what have you got? You just got so many Chris's. So many Chris's.
So many Chris's.
So many Chris's. You can't go wrong with a Chris.
Yeah.
And 5, Stan Lee. Stan Lee cameos every
Oh,
single
yeah.
time.
Yeah, no.
Like in every single movie that's done well on Marvel, Stan Lee's been in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Fantastic Four, Bond, no Stan Lee.
Yeah, so like I'm very mixed on this, so don't take me seriously at all. But I'm going to argue for DC solely because Jacob is gone from Marvel. So I feel that DC characters are stronger than the Marvel ones, like it's pretty evident because they all have like time-bending, reality-changing powers. And I think that puts them further away from like human norms. So, you know, like it makes them more super.
Yeah.
If you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I get you. Less approachable, more otherworldly.
Yeah, less approachable, more otherworldly. I'm a really, really big fan of the TV series that DC like puts out that are like aired on like the CW and stuff. Like they have Arrow and the Flash, and those like guys who have been doing that have become like actually like they've become pretty big celebrities as far as like TV goes. You know, like they're up there with like the people who do like Supernatural and stuff. It helps that they're on the same network. But So DC has like a really incredible TV presence, and like with Wonder Woman, I believe Wonder Woman was a solid movie, and I really enjoyed it. And as Jacob said before, you can't get away from Batman. This is your number one DC thing to get away from Batman, and it does everything incredibly well. If you haven't seen it, I would 110% recommend you go and check it out.
I back that as well.
But I can't stress enough that with Marvel, you get all of the Chris's and the superb-looking men, and they have beautiful gains. We have some people who shared their opinions as well.
DC, man, I've only ever read a few comic books. I've never been huge on comic books, but I read some Batman comics that were dope. I read some Swamp Thing, that was mad. Marvel's kind of lame, I reckon. DC's where it's at. Why? I don't know. DC's got all the cool villains. Like Batman's got all the dope villains. Marvel's like, what's a Marvel villain? I can't think of one. I don't know. You got Loki. That's the only one I can think of. He's kind of lame.
Well, Hugh Jackman's pretty hot. Which one's he in?
He's Marvel.
Okay.
So I don't really watch DC films because objectively I think they're shit. That's basically it. Whereas Marvel films, I'm invested in the characters now, which would be the same thing as if I watched DC, but I don't know, I just don't watch them, so I can't form a valid opinion. I'm sorry.
Tony Maguire, not so hot.
When it comes to films, DC is crap compared to Marvel. But when it comes to everything else, DC is way better. Mostly because, one, the tone, the characters, also the fact that there's just, how do I put it, they actually have stakes. Maybe not in the comics, but in everything else, they actually have stakes. Whereas Marvel has kind of gone to this point where they're just constantly trying to keep it Disney in pretty much every form of medium.
More of a Disney fan, actually. Pocahontas is my favourite movie. And The Lion King, when they get that, is it a tiger cub? And they're just like... And he, shows him, the dirt that's in front of him, that he's going to, be the lion of someday or something.
I prefer DC because I find that they're much more emotionally powering movies. I really like The Watchmen, and I also really like the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs. Superman. I still like Marvel films, though. A lot of them are great. Really love Guardians of the Galaxy. But apart from that, not a big fan.
Thor, Chris Evans? Who's Hemsworth? Evans? Who's Evans? Anyway.
Evans is Captain America.
Oh, yeah, he's cute, too. So, yeah, which one's Captain America?
Marvel as well. Everyone you said so far is Marvel.
I guess it's Marvel then.
I like them both for their pros and their cons. I think what's great about both of them is that they've got a great array of characters, both single and teams, and I think everyone can just love them all. Why discriminate based on group? Yeah, that's right.
Hey guys, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that edition of The Great Debate. Look, it's fair to say that people are entitled to their own opinion, and if you're a Marvel or a DC person, we all like superheroes, so let's just get along.
Let's just get along and
Let's just get along. But Shazam is really cool, and so is Spider-Man. So get around that.
Yeah. Sadly, we've reached the end of the show for today, and we will be having our mid-semester break next week, so no show next Wednesday, unfortunately. But when we come back after the break, what have we got for these guys?
No, it's just a tragedy. No show next week. No show. Well, Tiff, we will be having a feature story in 2 weeks' time in the Preston Market. I heard Geordie Little's been down there, and he's checking that out. We will also have another edition of Do You Even Sport and another installment of The Great Debate. It's going to be a solid show. Get around it. And
I think we're also going to be having a new segment called Pet Peeves.
Yeah, that is true.
Which you'll have a lot to complain about, won't you?
I will. I complain about anything and everything all the time, always.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, so join us next week. It's going to be not next week, the week after. I'm so sorry. I'm so out of the loop.
Well, we've got to leave now, guys, but thank you so much for joining us, and a big thank you to our producers and tech team,
Catch
as
you guys.
always. Bye.